evening, and welcome to another episode of Unstoppable Overcomers. I'm your host, Dorothy O'Dell. I am the founder of Unstoppable Overcomers Productions, where we are a full-service media company. To get more information, go to our website at www.unstoppableovercomers.com or simply send me an email at grahamdorothy408@gmail.com. Tonight, before we bring our amazing guest on, I just want to say Happy Thanksgiving to all our American friends and family out there. I know you'll be celebrating eating your turkey and or whatever you guys celebrate with this Thursday. And so we just wanted to give you a shout out and say Happy Thanksgiving. And what are you thankful for? We would really love to know what you are thankful for. We are thankful for you. And we are also thankful for our veteran community. Yeah. All right. I have the distinct pleasure of bringing Calida Jevon to the show. Welcome, Calida. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
Good. I guess I should have fixed that to see if that really would have worked this time. So welcome. I know it's been a little bit since you've been on the show, so welcome.
And thank you.
Absolutely. And I know that this time of the year is not the greatest for a lot of people. And I know that you do a lot to help people within the mental health space. But before we get to that, I would love you to tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Oh, a little bit about me. I am Calida Jevon. I am a mother of three. I have a 22-year-old, a 19-year-old, and a 9-year-old, almost 10 next month. So I have all the bases covered. I am an entrepreneur. I am a loving and giving person is what I will probably describe myself as. A good friend, a good daughter, and a serial entrepreneur. So some may know various things that I may be up to. I am a visionary, and so that's certain things come up. So I also work with the VA, Veterans Affairs, and so I also do that full time.
Oh, wow. You are a busy woman.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say busy mama, but woman, mama, whatever.
Yeah.
So what are you most thankful for this Thanksgiving?
What I'm most thankful for?
Yeah.
Family and friends. That's what I'm really present to. Hosting Thanksgiving. So, so I'm definitely, this is my actually favorite holiday is Thanksgiving, simply because no gifts have to be involved. It's really a time period for me. I feel like it's a time period to reflect, to look at all of the various things that you might be grateful for, thankful for that maybe have accomplished this past year, or just period. This is a great time period to reflect and to share your gratitude with others, and just be in an appreciated state. So that's, what I appreciate about Thanksgiving. And I, of course, love fellowshipping with family and friends and coming together, especially, my mom's only child. And so anytime, I would be somewhat envious of some of those larger families with multiple siblings and, all of the things that they might have argued about and had some strife about. But for me, I was like, oh, I see the bond between them. And I always just loved community. I absolutely love getting together with my own family and friends and extended, friends that may come over as well. So
I love that. And so what's your favorite thing to make on Thanksgiving? I just have to ask that question.
Well, I am the one who make all the meats. And so I typically like to have 3 or 4 different types of meats. And then, we have a whole host of sides, but brisket definitely has to be one of the meats. Of course, turkey, it's a staple. So everything else is optional. So It might be a ham for some of those people that eat it, because some people like my ham, although I don't eat pork anymore. So I still may cook it for others. Sometimes it could be salmon. It could be.
He lost her for a minute. I'm sure she'll come right back.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. You froze up for a minute.
Ooh, okay.
That's okay. That's what happens.
Where I left off at.
Last thing was salmon.
Okay. I was just saying I like to switch it up sometimes.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Yeah. I have to have the turkey, but my family's not too fond of it. So I usually do like a roast beef. And back in the day when everybody was still alive, it was roast beef, it was turkey, it was lasagna, it was like a whole bunch of different things. Well, thank you for sharing that, and thank you for sharing what Thanksgiving means to you and things like that. I know it's an important time. Whatever you can give thanks in any situation, but especially now that it is Thanksgiving for you guys over there. So thank you for sharing that. And so you say you're a serial entrepreneur. And so I know, what is this forgiveness movement? Is it the forgiveness movement?
Forgiveness mission.
Mission. Thank you. So what is that all about?
I first had the idea for a forgiveness workshop back in 2018. So like I mentioned, I work with a VA. And at that time, I was working in what we would call the Vision office. And so we had oversight of actually 8 hospitals. And I saw a trend that was going on amongst 5 of our hospitals at that time, where they were all reporting, well, not all, but 5 of the 8 were reporting increases of suicides. And it was something that bothered me. This was happening before the holiday season. And so it was just something that, I don't know, was just something that kind of bothered me and made me start to wonder and think about the various things that we carry. We don't know what someone else might be dealing with, what they may be carrying, or even something like even anxiety. This is a time period people might be having anxiety around the holidays approaching, possibly having loss of family members or loved ones, or various different things. If you have strife going on in your family, and maybe it's a loved one you don't want to see, or you have, just various things going on that could lead to more anxiety, depression, various different things. And so the thought at that particular time was to have a forgiveness workshop. So that was where that the thought first arrived, was looking at, the various things that someone may be carrying, and kind of trying to look at what could get down to what the source might be. And for me, I saw forgiveness as something that could be impactful. And so I held the first forgiveness workshop in a library in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So it was in person. And it had a pretty good turnout. And, it was a number of things. It was a little confronting probably at first, because it was like, okay, I had this idea. It wasn't really meant to become an organization, a business, or anything like that. It was just like, I'm going to do this thing. And, thought I was done with it at first initially, but it kept coming back up, just kept coming back up of when are you going to do, that thing again? Or, just various people inquiring about it. The library asked when we were going to come back. And so I finally decided to step into it and host another forgiveness workshop. And at that time, and seeing, how the impact was, I decided to commit to doing them quarterly at that time. And so we started doing them quarterly in Well, for 2022 and 2023, we did them quarterly. And then for this year, for 2024, we increased them slightly, and have been doing the workshops bi-monthly. So every other month we host a forgiveness workshop. The next one coming up is December 14th. So, it's coming up in a few weeks. And so this would be a great time to register for it as well. So I believe the website is on the link somewhere.
Yeah, it's scrolling across the bottom there.
Okay, awesome. So you can look there. You can also find us on Eventbrite as well. And I believe I might have emailed you the link as well. So, definitely you can look us up, Forgiveness Mission, and definitely register and come to our next workshop.
We will have it in the show notes as well. So has there been like a big increase from the first workshop to like the last one you had in attendance?
Normally, our workshops can be, I think the most amount of people that we've had at a workshop has been about 35 people. Typically, we stay around the 25-ish range. We can definitely have many more. We definitely want to start having more of an online presence. We don't really have an online presence just yet. And so that is definitely one of our aims as well.
Right. Awesome. And I would start, have you seen the numbers then decrease? Because you originally wanted to start doing this because of the suicide rate amongst the veterans. Have you seen that number decrease at all within at least the community that you know?
So what recently got reported, the last report, I can't tell you, but we did see a decrease in women veteran suicides, which is amazing. So I did see that come across. As far as in suicides in totality, no, they have not had a decrease just yet in regards to the time periods that we are in, and especially, one of the things that's on my heart is for our youth as well. We've definitely had an increase of suicides within our youth. So as young as 6, 7, 8 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So, that is something to also pay attention to and look at, and the various things that's going on with, our youth and teens. So, so as far as a decrease yet, no, for overarching umbrella, there has not been a decrease yet, but I was definitely happy to hear the report of women veterans.
Yeah, that is great. I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? And so as long as I always say my aim is one per episode. If we could, help someone turn their life around, at least one per episode. And so we got to start somewhere, and we can't look at, what could have been, what should have been. But I'm so happy for you, because that's huge. I just found out about another thing within the veteran space about military sexual trauma. I had no idea that was a thing. I would never have thought that would be a thing. And I was wrong, totally wrong. As a matter of fact, we were going to have somebody on our Journey and Boots show, I believe on December 12th, that had experienced military sexual trauma and has gone on to start her own nonprofit to help other women. So it's unbelievable what is out there. And as somebody who has lost somebody at Christmas due to suicide, I know that we still have a lot of work to do. And as a collective, if we keep raising the collective conscious with that, I know that will make the impact that we're out to create. So
Yeah.
thank you for what you're doing, because that's awesome.
And thank you for what you're doing and sharing light to veteran issues and all of that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I forgot, it's funny because I knew you worked at the VA, but I forgot about that because there's so much about the VA and I'm like, who do I know? Who do I know? Well, now I know. I can come back to you whenever I have questions that my veterans pose, because there's always questions, always questions. So I remember I have another new source, so that's awesome. Totally awesome. So what else are you doing besides the forgiveness mission? Because you said you're a serial entrepreneur. So what are another one of those great, amazing things that you do?
So a couple of things. One, I have something called Ladies Thriving Together. And it's a women's group. We meet weekly simply just to share. We believe in the power of sharing and discussing all kinds of issues. There's really no issue that's off the table that we can't discuss. Typically, we have a presenter that will present a topic of discussion. And we kind of have a little rotation of who is presenting and share whatever that topic might be. That presenter might share whatever her knowledge might be of whatever said topic. And then there's a space for others to chime in into the conversation, share their own knowledge, experience. We also welcome any yeah buts that I like to say. So for, maybe we might not see some things all the same way. And so that adds to intriguing conversations. And that's also how you grow, iron sharpens iron. And so, it's definitely an opportunity to share and learn from others. Oftentimes within our community, we see every person as a flower. Like we all have beauty in our own right, whatever way that, we might be blooming. We might be a rose, you might be a daffodil, you might be, all of that, but we have our beauty, and all of these things that we talk about and discuss over time. They're like little tools that we'll put in our back pocket. You may not need it right now, but there might be a time period within your life or something, your journey that you're going on, and you might need oh, you know what? I needed that wrench. I might have needed a hammer. I might have needed a screwdriver, whatever that issue or something that might be going on for you, it could be useful. So we definitely believe in the power of sharing and kind of learning from each other. So that is Ladies Thriving Together. And there's been, we've been doing this. We meet via Zoom for about an hour and a half, and every Saturday. And we have had some discussions recently, and you might be a resource for us of possibly shifting our calls to a podcast. That has been some recent conversations that we have had. And so more to come with how that is. And so we shall see. And then I also am in insurance as well. So that is my other stream of income, life insurance. So I help people with their insurance needs, as well as annuities and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. So life insurance then.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Life insurance.
Cool.
So I often share regarding the power of life insurance, as well as my biggest thing is insurance with living benefits. And so in educating people on what that is, and why, especially being a single mom myself, it's mandatory. It's mandatory.
So what's living benefits? I've never heard of that.
Living benefits is so insurance with living benefits. That is if you were to have a let's say a terminal illness, a critical illness, could be a heart attack. Certain cancers can be critical illness. Stroke could be considered a critical illness. Chronic illness could be like diabetes is an example of a chronic illness, as well as a critical injury. Those things can trigger living benefits. And so, depending on the type of policy that you have, you can gain up to 90% of the face value of your policy while you are alive. So, oftentimes, God forbid something happens, someone gets sick, and, just because you're sick, you're not dead,
Right.
you're you're still living and life still goes on. So you're still going to have a mortgage, a rent, bills that are still going to be due, increased co-payments because of healthcare, having to pay for certain treatments or your prescriptions and different things of that nature. And oftentimes when families have things like that going on, that might deplete their savings. That might possibly set them back. They might have to, it's various things that can possibly happen. Hopefully you have a nest egg. Hopefully you have something that you can turn to. Not everyone may or may not. And so living benefits can kick in during that time. It can help surely to have those funds, and especially it is something that you don't have to pay taxes on, and you do not have to pay it back. It's not a loan. So that is also something, that for me, and especially being a single mom, I don't have currently don't have a husband, or have that security of like, okay, well, God forbid if something was to happen to me, then maybe, my spouse will pick up, or maybe blah, 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 blah. Even in 2-parent households, you may have 2 people working. That is a huge hit when you have to make the decision of, can I actually feel well enough to go to work and still go through these treatments, or still do whatever you might need to do. It's a serious thing and conversation that a lot of people don't think about until there's a need for it. And so it is simply just trying to educate people on the importance of being proactive, thinking about certain things, especially when you have children, that you're not just taking care of yourself, you're also maybe taking care of your household and things of that nature of, God forbid, if something was to happen to me and I, passed away, my family's covered. If something was to happen to me and I was sick, my family's covered. Either way, my bases are covered, and, we're going to be okay. We're going to get through this.
So you skipped over one small thing, because
Okay.
I know at one time we were talking on one of our other shows, or maybe it was off air. I don't remember. Are you still looking for the husband?
You said I stepped over one thing?
You stepped over it. You said spouse, or at least not right now. You kind of stepped over it. So I don't like stepping over things, especially if we can help you here. Because last time we had one of our mutual friend of ours on the show, Miss Vicky Parker, I was taking resumes for Vicky. If anybody was interested in applying for the position of, well, let's start with boyfriend first and then make our way to marriage. So is that something that you're still looking for?
So I have met someone that's
Ooh,
amazing and treats me very well.
well, that's
And
good.
I do absolutely love him. So yes, things are well in that department. So we shall see, what the future may hold for us.
I love that. I
So
love
yeah.
that. Last time we talked, I think you had met somebody, but I think he was it. How did we? Maybe it wasn't this episode. Sorry, I have so many going through my head right now. Somebody had said to me just today that they hated being ghosted, and I think you had been ghosted by that one guy, and I was just like, okay, well, maybe things are good, maybe not. I don't know. And I don't know if it's the same guy, but we'll talk about that off air. I won't pretend.
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm not sure how long ago that was. That was, I don't know, probably quite some time ago.
That was
But
quite some time ago.
yes, I have been single for a while. And yes, I am definitely in a relationship now and definitely happy with who I have.
Well, that's awesome. Oh,
Mhm.
good. Now I don't have to play matchmaker. That's one less thing.
Nope, don't need any matchmaking in that department. I'm good.
Love it. See, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. It's you just never know. Everybody's like, "Hey, do you have a list of questions?" No, and we just go with it. We just go with the flow on this show,
Right.
wherever the good Lord takes us. And who knows? Anyways, so it's funny because I was talking with you, I think Sunday morning. This is why last Sunday morning we're like, you were talking about what's up on the schedule for the forgiveness mission for 2025, and we were talking that this is not always the most wonderful time of the year for everybody, and I'm like, that's why I'm like, man, we got to have Clean on because it's just the beginning of the start of the holidays, especially in the States right now. And so for somebody that's listening right now that, they're not feeling it, they're not feeling like this is the most wonderful time of the year. They're having some dark thoughts and, they're barely hanging on. What would you say would be one of the top 3 tips that you would give this particular person that may be listening in to this episode today?
I would say the reminder that you are not alone. You are not alone. You might feel that way, whatever you might be dealing with going on at the time, but you're not alone. There are people who love you, that care about you, whether they may not call you every single day. You may not even say, hey, I have that person at the top of my mind right now, but help is available to you. Please call someone, talk to someone in a safe environment, someone that's positive. I'm not sure, whatever you might be dealing with. Maybe you're not, you don't have nothing but negative people around you, but pick up the phone and call. There is a suicide hotline. I believe it was mentioned that it's accessible in Canada as well, but definitely in the US is 988. So it's really simple, 3 digits that you can call. Pick up the phone and call and talk to someone, regardless of whatever time of day. It's 24/7. That line is open, even on holidays. And so know that you're not alone. Know that hope, hang on to hope is what I would say. It's there and available to you. Just hang on to whatever glimmer of hope that is there and reach out to someone. Those will be some of the things that I would, remember and keep in mind. And as well as, I know we talked about at the very beginning, we mentioned gratitude, and especially during the season of Thanksgiving. And, sometimes when we have nothing but bad things that's going on, or maybe have happened to us, or we're dealing with, we have, stress, anxiety, depression, various different things. Sometimes it's easy to hear, "Oh, okay, yeah, be thankful for something." It's easy for you to say, be thankful. You're not dealing with what I'm dealing with, and things of that nature. But I often like to say is to look for the good. Look for it. Like you're searching for your lost keys and you're about to go drive somewhere. Look for it.
Yeah.
You will find something. Even if it is, okay, I am able to breathe again. Or maybe, I know oftentimes We never end up hearing those good news stories. Sometimes it's often the bad things that they report on the news. But even in some of those worst cases, there's something good about it if we look for it. Whether it is someone turned their life around, someone, gained healing from XYZ, or because of that bad thing that happened, they had a testimony that also helped somebody else, or, whatever it is, look for the good. Just search for it. Keep looking for it, and be in that glimmer of hope for tomorrow.
Well said. Well said. And yes, the same number applies to Canada, 988. I was dumbfounded when I saw that they both got it together and both have the same number, because I may be in Canada, but a lot of the veterans that I work with and help are from the United States. So it's that I only have to remember one number.
Yes. It's good.
Not that I ever want to use it, but at least we know that if somebody needs to use it, at least it's available.
Mm-hmm.
So that is important. And it's not just for veterans too, that are affected by this. It's everybody right now, right? I mean, it's civilians, it's everybody. And so just like Calida said, reach out. We're here for you. Reach out for the forgiveness workshop. Definitely, it's a great resource that you could, I'm sure Calida gives a staggering amount of resources within her forgiveness workshop. So definitely sign up for that. The website is scrolling across the bottom here, forgivenessmission.com. So yeah, look out for those resources.
One thing I like to mention about that too, that I don't know how I failed to mention it before, but is that it's not just me on the forgiveness workshop. I do have an amazing team that also helps with presenting these topics. And so we do have forgiveness broken up into few conversations that we talk about during our workshops. And so, yes, we do, talk about, the very beginning of like, what is it and things of that nature. And yet we talk about forgiveness of self. So just the same way as in an airplane, they will tell you to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you can help someone else. We do look at self first. Then we go into forgiveness and wellness. We know all kinds of stats of how stress kills, and when do the most heart attacks happen, and certain other statistics that you can pull up, you can see that's be aware of. Yet, it's just a look at how is it impacting our bodies. So we do have a conversation around forgiveness and wellness. Then we go into forgiveness of others. I like to say that is that others is in like your family, your friends, your coworkers, anybody you could put a face or a name to. Those are that others conversation. And then last but not least, we also talk about forgiving the world. So it's a broader perspective regarding forgiveness. And so it does look at some things that maybe we don't have control over. So such as a law that might get passed that now affects you, or maybe it could be racism. It could be, sexism. It could be a number of different things, wars that are going on, or within your community, stuff that might be happening that you may not have control over, or you might feel, helpless because of, or might have resentment because of, or might have whatever that you might be dealing with, or you're holding on to, that is now impacting you, yourself, your body, your stress even can have that effect on everything. But it's the one part of the conversation that we oftentimes don't talk about or even acknowledge, that, hey, things that's happening out here in our world have effects on us over here as well. And, it's not a separation. And having that conversation as well. So those are the areas that we discuss within our forgiveness workshop.
I love that. Yeah. Forgiving the world. I never thought of that really until you just said that. I tend to, when it comes to media, like the news and things like this, I live in a sheltered box because I don't allow myself to listen to too much of the mainstream media. It's depressing. It's, I don't want to hear about it. I really don't. And I have friends that are like, well, you need to know this, this can affect your community. I'm like, okay, well, I build my community. And so I say what gets put through my filters. And so, yeah, I don't know half of what's going around in the world because I don't want to know. It is simple as that. I don't have a normal TV. We have something like a digital TV is what we have. So yeah, there's news on it if I choose to go find it. But with over 1,000 channels, do you think I'm gonna try and find a news channel? Not a chance. Not a chance. Football and hockey is what's on my TV most days.
Yeah. And so that is a really good example of how something impacted you at some point, and it had a reaction.
Yes. Okay. So you could say that. I just choose to fill my time either reading or doing something else instead of watching TV.
Yeah. And I'm with you. I don't watch too much TV. When I do, it's Hallmark.
Right? The Woman's Channel here, Channel 27.
Hallmark, maybe HGTV, every other blue moon, maybe Food Network. But
you know what? It's funny that you said that. My husband's a sports fanatic. We've got one TV in the house, so it's what he wants. And I'm too busy in here in my spare bedroom creating an empire anyways. So
I love it.
And you're right. I think the back when COVID first hit, and that's all you would hear is the negative and and so yeah, I could honestly say I was traumatized by a lot of the stuff that I did hear. At one point, and I have this amazing friend who has a heart of gold, but had a lot of different information. We'll put it that way. And at one point, they were threatening to go door to door to see if the people were vaccinated. And so when she started telling me that, I'm just like, okay, I just shut down. I'm like, I don't need to hear this. No one's coming to my door. If that's the case, we'll be like Anne Frank and we'll just like hide somewhere, because whatever. I'm not dealing with this. This is not, I was going to say this isn't war times, but I guess it is. We do have a war going on. And I have to say that I don't know much about it because I choose not to. What my veteran community tells me is what I know. And outside of that, I really don't pay attention because I just, get the help for the people that are seeking it. And I don't think outside of that box. So,
yeah.
Or look outside of that box.
And there's nothing wrong with that neither, especially knowing when to close that door or to say, you know what, I need to distance myself sometimes, because sometimes it's actually quite healthy to do. And I mean, because on the contrary, the other side of that is someone being very stressed out, have high anxiety because of what they watch on the news and things of that nature. And I mean, there's always bad things going on, and so if you, look at everything and you are driven by fear, even, you wouldn't go anywhere. You wouldn't do anything. I mean, because man, there may have been a shooting at the mall. Okay, we can't go to the mall, Okay, well then, man, you got car accidents, or it might even be a shooting on the highway. Okay, man, we can't go there neither. Oh, you can't go to school. Oh, you can't go there. I mean, like, you will literally be in a box and not do anything simply by just listening to the news. And so, yes, that's the other extreme of of that too. So,
Right.
so yes, we definitely, find that median of what works best for each individual person, and seeing what sources as well, because some of the news may not be what you think it is, because everybody,
Mhm.
have agendas. And so, I learned that too, even working VA years ago, of like, oh, certain stuff that might have been put on the news. And, but we gave them one story, but they reported another.
Yeah.
That right there started making me start to question and have an eyebrow raised about certain things. So it depends on what the agenda is and what so yes, looking at your sources as well. I
Right.
completely
I'm
understand.
so glad you said that. Everybody has an agenda, and so
Mhm.
what's your agenda, right? Or what's that person that is whispering something into your ear? Like, what's is their ultimate agenda? And I'm extremely empathetic. So when I see that craziness on the news, like either somebody being killed or something like that, I feel for these people. Like, I feel what they're feeling, and I'm like, I have enough of with my own feelings. I don't need to feel everybody in the world's too,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And so, and then, yeah, I was getting really mad during the during COVID, and especially not being able to leave my house. Canada had different rules than the U.S., where basically you were like locked in, couldn't go
Um,
anywhere, um, and so that triggered a lot of anger and a lot of anxiety. And my dad was going through his cancer phase at that time too, so not wanting to see him because we knew his time was borrowed, but on the other hand, didn't want to get him sick and you be the cause of him actually dying, right? So
mhm.
there was that added to it. So I kept my stress to a minimum by not watching the news and stay off the damn Facebook, because that was ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Some of that, like, it would just get me upset, and I would like get I would get mad at my husband. Like, put your damn phone away, like, stay off the phone.
Yeah,
So
yeah. You got to minimize that screen time, especially if it's evoking, emotions and stuff like that, or things that aren't yours. So you're not taking on the burdens of others, even, or just because. So yeah,
yeah,
I
100%.
I too. I don't know if you may be what do they call it? Empathic.
I would say I am, but yeah,
Hmm.
a little bit. I've always had a sixth sense for different things.
Hmm.
I never really talked about it, because if you were to talk about that stuff in my family, you'd be considered the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But
I understand. And that was the reason why I inquired, because myself, that was one of the reasons why I started watching less and less of the news. I mostly get like my news information off of like YouTube. But yeah, it some of the things that you would listen to, it was traumatic for me, like heart wrenching. Okay, to hear about this kid, or oh, what about this? And certain stories that will just stick with you. That's when it was just like, okay, yeah. I mean, me having to literally like stop and pray in order for, to even get some peace
Mhm.
about it. And so, yeah, I just I felt like it was a bit much, and definitely didn't want to keep, instilling all of these thoughts regarding certain stories and things that just stay with you. So I too can understand and relate of why to curve what you're watching.
Well, if you look at it, who owns Main Street Media? At least here in Canada, it's the
Mhm.
government.
Mm-hmm.
If you dig further enough down, you realize it's the government.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the government's agenda? The government's agenda is to get you what they want you to do, whether that had been vaccinated back then or whatever they want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
So then, but then you see the real stuff, real things that's going on in your community on the groups that are within Facebook, and they don't talk about the people jumping off the bridge because they can't handle being isolated. They didn't talk about any of that on the Main Street Media. 15 a day within my community, my small community, gone, whether it be drugs, drug induced because they couldn't handle it, or jumping off the damn bridge. So that was never said. But anyways, that period is over with. Thank God.
Thankfully.
And now it's time to bring on the amazing Kimberly Genovese, our roving reporter. Welcome back, Miss Kimberly.
Hello. It's good to see you all on this Monday after Thanksgiving.
No, before Thanksgiving.
Isn't it? Oh, right. I'm so ahead of myself.
You are so ahead of myself.
Yes. Way ahead. Oh, goody. We all get to have turkey or whatever. Or as you guys, like, you have a meat smorgasbord at your Thanksgivings.
Yeah, that's what I like.
Very impressive.
She likes her meat.
Wow, I think I want to come.
You got to have several options, Yeah,
definitely.
You are welcome. Definitely welcome.
Oh, yay! Look at that. Well, since I'll be roving to Iowa this year to be with my aunt and all of them and all that good stuff. But I'll definitely hold a rain check on that one for sure. For sure. What a beautiful episode tonight. It's one of those things, right? The human consciousness and the awareness that suicidal ideology is a part of being human, right? And inside of that, and inside the fundamentals specifically, right? It's a great show tonight, ladies. I've been praying, meditating the whole time, which is that's my jam. That's what I do. And it's what just kept coming up the whole time was, the thoughts that we have. They're just thoughts. The emotions we have. And I'm intentionally using the word just, as in they only have the power that we give them. And sometimes those thoughts and emotions, if we give them too much power, it's like giving a drunk driver the keys to your car. And if, we help one person from this show, whether it's them watching it Monday before Thanksgiving, or whenever they watch it. And from my heart, from Dorothy's heart, from Calida's heart, pass this show along to as many people and understand that, the fact that the thoughts are going on now, what's coming up in this very moment, it's no different than, it's like cold and flu season. And it's the season. It's literally the season. So people are going to be walking down the street and they're going to look perfectly normal, just like somebody with a cold. And don't shy away from this conversation, because, being someone who's helped so many people with suicidal ideology or with thoughts, whatever the languaging is, right, Calida? And someone who's had them herself. So I know what that experience is. It's a moment It's a moment, but it can be such a fatal moment. And I just love that you ladies made it clear to them, like, listen, we get it. You may not have one soul in your life who has a positive thought. You may not. That's the beauty of the 3-digit number. And that anybody can call it anytime, any place, anywhere in America and in Canada.
Mhm.
So to their point, to Calida and Dorothy's point, you are literally not alone, even though you may be thinking, oh, they don't know, I don't have anyone. Yes, you do. You have someone on the other side of those 3 digits. Dial the 3 digits before you do anything else. And, that fundamentally, right, that is the message. And to keep that message alive, especially Kalita, what's there for me in this moment is especially if for people that are healthy, people who have not been dealing on a high level with PTSD or of any sort or anything in the realm of that world, right? Most of us are awakened and aware enough. It's the healthy people that all of a sudden get blindsided by these sensations and they don't know, that this is available. So I know I have a personal passion for Kalida's mission. And it is such a beautiful mission and it's so well done. And the people behind it are really phenomenal. So
Yeah.
pass it
Can I
along,
add,
right? Pass it
can I add
along.
one thing to that too? And thank you for bringing that up, Kimberly, because that is so true. It is definitely that reminder to check in on everybody, especially those ones that you feel they got it together. Oh, they got it together.
Oh
They
yeah.
would. And one thing I often say is, we're always surprised. We're always surprised. You wouldn't have thought, like you'll hear somebody like they died via suicide, and you're like, what? Oh my goodness, no. Like you would not have
Yeah.
thought because
Yeah.
they had it all together, or
Oh
because
yeah.
they might have been successful, or because they, had a family, or because they whatever that you might
Thriving
have thought.
career.
Yeah. So it's you're always surprised each and every single time. So it doesn't have a face.
Mm-mm.
Suicide do not have a face. You can't say this is what that looks like. This is what it looks like right here. No, each time it's a surprise. And so what that tells me is share with everyone, talk to those, even when you think they might have it all together. Maybe it's because they carrying the weight of the world on their shoulders, and oh my goodness, they one extra thing made that back break,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's the one
Mm-hmm.
actually to check on.
Yeah.
That's the one. Everybody goes to that one person. That's definitely the one you want to check on. So thank you, Kimberly, for mentioning that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, again, it got birthed in the amazing space that you two are and the amazing show that you've been putting on for the last 45 minutes because it came in that space. So it's my pleasure to bring it into the conversation. So with that, 2 things. First of all, I just want to put a shout out for Freedom Group Global and the Money Cleanse. We are very excited about the fact that we have put a purging program together for people that is actually very plush and powerful and most importantly, fun. And it brings joy to your money house, right? And especially at these times, because in a lot of instances, people tend to start thinking suicidal thoughts, right? When their money house is out of control and they don't know which way to go. And so we're very, very happy with the results we've already gotten with the people that we've taken through the program. And we've been able to get it up and running to help as many people as possible. And it's super fun. So I don't need to go into the detail. Just the link is going across the screen. just go check it out. All the questions are answered, and you can reach out to Freedom Group Global for questions and answers on it. But it definitely ties in, and we're thrilled, that we get to offer this in especially this time for lots of reasons, right? It's not just because of the suicide, but also the holidays and all that, spending money, right? It's such an oxymoron, right? At this time of year, on the one hand, you want to buy for everyone and you want to show your love to everyone. And then there's that like horrific pain when you look at your credit cards and your, and it really does make it somewhat difficult, right? To let the joy flow through. So if there's joy in your money house, it gives you an opportunity to have joy everywhere, right? So we're thrilled that we get to put that out there. And with that, Miss Calida, we are, drum roll please, Dorothy. We are very excited to hear what your fundamentals are, Calida. Please share.
Okay, so I'm glad that I wrote them down so that way I can have them at the top of my mind. And so number one, and they're not in any specific order, like this is just how they came to me. And so I'm gonna run with that. But
Perfect.
one is to fully live your life and to do it scared if you have to.
Ooh, that's sexy.
Fully live your life and do it scared if you have to. What song to remember? That is the theme for that one fundamental is I Hope You Dance by Leanne Womack.
That was a song I played when I danced with my stepson at my wedding.
I love
So
it.
beautiful.
Yes, I love that song. I mean, that song for me, that's my hope, that's my wish, that's what I want for my children. And if I was to leave something to them to live by, that is it.
The
Right there.
song.
So I love that song. So do it, live fully, and follow that song. Number two is I said to question everything, gain an understanding for yourself. There. The world is trying to tell you everything. I mean, they're trying to tell you all kinds of stuff. That's fine. One person might say one thing, another person might say something else. But listen to yourself, like actually listen to question everything and to try to gain an understanding for yourself. Having faith, belief for yourself. And I'll just leave that with that. Number three is to trust that everything is always working for your good. Everything. So trust that statement is correct, even when you don't see it, even when you don't feel it. Literally write it down and have that affirmation plastered on your wall. Say it every single day. Have it in the mirror, whatever it is, so that way you have it implanted in your brain that you are starting to live out that way, knowing that everything is always working for your good.
Well, Calida, those are probably three of the sexiest fundamentals that we've had on the show. And I'm still kind of blown away, Dorothy, that we continue to there's like even one, right? Like rarely do we even have one that is the same from one person to the next, which I freaking love. Right. And that last one, it's so crazy because, and it's Holy Spirit, of course, right? That's freaking brilliant inside of the show's theme tonight. Because we could literally say, based inside your fundamentals, and by the way, I 100% agree that everything is working for your good. So if you're having suicidal thoughts, It's for your good. And you're supposed to be reaching out to someone because there's gold on the other side of that conversation. Those conversations you're going to have, and that bridge of those thoughts are going to lead you to a promised land.
Mm-hmm.
We promise you that. That's a promise. Right? So beautiful, lovely, stunning. God bless us, everyone. Is like, this is just right there for me to say. Hallelujah. Pass the bread basket for each and every one of those. And you also spurred in me to add in, when you said the Hope You Dance song, mine is Tim McGraw, Live Like You Were Dying.
Mm-hmm. Write that down.
Because you are. Because that I add that in. Because you are. We're all dying. We're all one day closer to our expiration date. But we don't live that way. And his song is so gorgeous that like it's a great those two make a great. I literally bought the like little Hallmark books that go with the CDs, for those two songs. Those are the two on my shelf. Those two, both of them together. So just to throw that in for everyone as well.
It.
So.
I'm not sure if I actually have heard that song, so I didn't write it down. I'm gonna look it up. I know.
Tim McGraw and Faith Hill are my role models of Power Couples United. So, but yeah. Well, Dorothy,
play it, but then I would get chopped off.
No. We can put it in the show notes, though, right? We can put those two songs in the show notes. Yeah. Perfect.
So yeah.
And Calida, I'll get it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Well, Dorothy, my privilege as always. And in light of this is the show before the American Thanksgiving, I am so thankful for both of you actually in my lives, especially in the space that we're in right now with the audience. I'm very grateful for you, Dorothy. I'm grateful to get to be in this with you. And I'm very grateful for the audience and everyone who makes up this community. So I'm thankful for you all. I love you all. And Dorothy, back to you.
Wow. That's what I was going to ask you. So
you didn't even have to ask.
You stole my thunder. You
didn't even have to ask me.
No. So, folks, to get signed up and get more information on the Money Cleanse, there is your go to freedomglobal.com/the/money/cleanse. Go check it out. Get registered. And then go over to forgivenessmission.com and get registered for the December 14th workshop. Get that checked out. Invite a friend. Invite two friends. Sharing is caring. And let's make this holiday the most memorable holiday. Make lasting memories for years to come. And just be thankful in everything.
Yeah. Dorothy, if I may, I'm very involved with the workshops. The workshops are brilliant, and go to on the 14th. And it's not so much inside of the suicide piece as much as like preparing yourself for the holidays and family, and what could be made available. I get that it's after Thanksgiving, but it's definitely right in the heart of the holidays itself. And, not only the Christmas, but I dare say going into a new year, especially the workshop will definitely prepare you for whatever thoughts you may have created around both Thanksgiving and Christmas. That going into the new year, you might be holding on to some things that you don't want to forgive people for. And
family is everything, but there also can be a giant pain in the ass. And this is why we need these different tools in our toolbox to be able to forgive ourselves for allowing some of the past behavior and forgiving them for their behavior. and just forgiving everything to just say, you know what, it's a clean slate. Waking up each day that today's a new day and wiping everything clean. That's true forgiveness.
Yeah. The December 14th workshop is probably like, if I was going to tell someone to go to one thing in the month of December, it would literally be Kalida's workshop. In that, right? It's going to powerfully set you up, not just for the holidays, but more importantly, going into the new year as a new person. Because in my book and all the people I've had the privilege to get to work with, forgiveness is very elusive, right along with healthy processing of grief. Those two things, as a human consciousness, we are very challenged by those two things, and Calida does a phenomenal job with it, with both actually. But the workshop is mostly focused on forgiveness.
So get registered today, and bring a friend, bring your family,
bring the
Could
whole
you
family.
imagine?
Have a watch party.
Yeah,
And well,
Hey,
there's
right?
that too.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Yeah, with your family. Yeah.
yeah. Family,
Have-
friends.
Healing yourself is one thing, but could you imagine healing your entire family?
I mean, if there's anyone you care about, invite them. You can't give someone just like in this moment, just imagine everyone you know and love accessing tools to forgive. What greater gift could you give someone than that?
Amen. Done. Sign up right now. With that, guys, have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy it with your loved ones. And for those of you that don't have loved ones around anymore or missing those, go make memories with a new friend. Or if you're having a big Thanksgiving, invite that friend over that maybe doesn't have a whole lot of family left and might be struggling. You never know. Not only will you never know the gift that you're even giving yourself with that. So anyway, it's just a thought. With that, be unstoppable in all that you do. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Share with all your friends because sharing is caring. And yeah, see you next week. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.